So when we say upper back row, we're really talking about three things that we're going to go over in a second. I'm going to show you a couple ways to do this with a cable machine. I'm going to show you with a chest support. I'm going to show you without a chest support. But a lot of you guys, especially those in a gym, are going to have probably several, at least one chest supported machine option. And so I don't have a machine. I'm not going to demonstrate with a machine, but if you have a chest supported row machine, I suspect that will be a really nice and easy way to get this done. All you need to do is apply the principles that I'll go over in a second, which I think you guys will do wonderfully with, and I'm always there to check form videos. So any chest supported row machine probably works fine if you follow some of the principles we talk about today. Now, the thing about a machine is you don't always have all the customizability. It's not like you can exactly pick where your arms go. Sometimes the machine only has certain grip options. Not a big deal. If you follow, the instructions to the best of your ability, make the best of it, it'll work great. So I'm going to show you with a chest support using a straight bar with angles 90 essentially. If you don't have this bar, of course you don't have this bar. This bar is a ridiculous thing nobody needs really. What you can do is you can use your angles 90 and attach it to a straight bar, or you can just loop a pair of D handles. D handles are these little things right here. You can loop them just over a straight bar, and I'll kind of lay over some footage of me doing that with a straight bar now. And so essentially it's the same thing we'll go over in a second. I'll talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, but this is what that would look like with D handles looped over a straight bar. You don't actually have to use the long bar that I have. This is just the only straight bar that I have for demonstration purposes. So when we're talking about an upper back row, we are saying three things essentially by calling it an upper back row. By calling it a row, what we're saying is it's a more horizontal movement, right? We're not pulling from overhead, we're not pulling from here, we're pulling roughly perpendicular to the torso, roughly in a horizontal plane. Again, I say roughly because these aren't hard and fast rules. I want you to think row, okay, I'm pulling from out in front. I want you to think pull down, that means I'm pulling from somewhere in this overhead region. So we're doing a row, that means we want something perpendicular-ish to the torso, something horizontal. And when we say upper back, we mean two things. Number one is elbow position. And so I want you to have your elbows not tucked tight to the torso. I want them up off the torso. Somewhere between here, which is let's say 45 degrees, up to 90 degrees. So somewhere in this position that feels comfortable for you, and sometimes you have to modify that based on what the machine offers. And so you'll see for me, I like this kind of 45, 60 degree elbow position, but anywhere from here up to 90 that feels comfortable for you and your shoulders, really great. And the third thing is we want to have scapular movement. We want to emphasize scapular movement. And so what that's going to look like is, what I mean by that, by the way, because it's just unnecessarily complex terminology, is you want to, when you're stretching forward, you want to let your shoulder blades move like this. So you want to stretch the shoulder blades forward like this, and sometimes what happens is you get some what's called thoracic flexion, which is rounding of the upper back. You see that my upper back is round. That's totally fine. In some ways, it's a feature, not a bug. It's something that is good. And so those two things can sometimes happen together in pursuit of that stretch. That's just fine. And on the back end, as you pull, we're going to really emphasize that pinching of the shoulder blades together. And so when we say upper back row, we mean a perpendicular movement, so a horizontal pull. We mean elbows up off the side, and we mean a lot of scapular movement like this. And so I'm going to demonstrate here with the chest support, and then we're going to go through some of the other options. So you see I'm stretching here, letting my shoulder blades move forward, and as I pull back, I'm pinching back. And so as you can see, as I'm pulling, my chest is coming off the pad a little bit. But what I would say is that that's just fine, and that is something I want. As you pinch, I want you to also extend through the spine, picking your chest up, pinching your shoulder blades back. But I want you to make sure that your sternum, or the bottom of your chest, stays on the pad. So this is what I would not want you to do. To a point where, my stomach and my sternum, basically right here, the bottom of your chest, goes off the pad. I don't want that. But if you think about keeping your chest pressed against the pad, but just arching back, you'll end up in this position here, which is just fine. That is what we want. And you'll get a really, notable mid-back, upper back sensation because that's what those muscles do. They kind of are in charge of moving the scapula. They attach to the scapula. So we really want to emphasize that scapular movement. If you're doing it with the chest support, it's going to be really great. If you're doing it with a chest supported machine, it's going to be really great. I'm going to show you now what I would do if I have no chest supported machine option and I can't set up what I'm doing right now, either with angles 90 or with D handles looped over a straight bar. So if you can't set this up with a chest supported machine, you can't set up what I just had with the chest supported row with the cable, chances are you have a seated cable row station, chances are, where you can prop your feet up like this. And then again, you want to set up either with your angles 90 on a straight bar or with D handles looped over a straight bar. Or if you have none of those options, I'll want you to pick a handle at your gym that has either a semi-pronated grip like this or an overhand grip, right? So a straight bar essentially. And what you're going to do is the same thing. You're going to emphasize that stretch forward here, right? We're not rounding at the lower back like this. This isn't what I want. Upper back rounding is okay. And so if you get into this position and you see that in the pursuit of stretching forward, your upper back rounds a little bit, that's okay. And as you pull back, we're emphasizing that arch and that pinch. Here, stretch. Here, pinch. Stretch, pinch. And this will work just fine as well. I do think a chest supported option is better, but shit man, you use what you got.